I'm finally back out. Been bogged down with work for a while, so thought I'd start the new year with another trip out. I'm losing daylight though. I've got about 15 minutes of daylight, so I better get a shift on, but luckily I've brought a torch with me. Right, finally set up, and you can tell I'm out because it's pouring down with rain again. So I've had to unpack everything while I was in the tent under torchlight because I just lost the light by the time I got here. But I'm here now anyway, so I'll set up and I'm going to have my tea, which is one of my favourites. I like mashed potatoes, sausage and beans. It's a bit of a comfort food thing. Probably the meal I would choose if I was on death row. And the mashed potatoes I brought are these Idahoans. I don't know if you've never had them before. They're highly recommended. Much better than Smash. They're a little bit more expensive, but they're definitely well worth it. Honestly, you wouldn't know that they weren't sort of real mashed potatoes. As Gary Rose used to say, the trick is not to prick them. God bless him. Been raining now solid for over 8 hours.
So happy to be home. Liz, Wayne in Northamptonshire, we wish you all the love and hope you are nicely on the mend now, darling. And reasons to be cheerful, so I got up at 5:30. Middleton's birthday today. And Jimmy Page, 76 today. Oh, and Catherine Johnson, 27. Happy birthday to you. When I'm underneath the bright lights, when I'm trying to have a good time.
It's literally rained for about 12 hours since I've been in here. I've been in the tent the whole time now. And I haven't slept very well because the rain was really heavy and really loud, so I need a coffee this morning to wake myself up, and then I'll pack up and head back off to work. So let's hope this isn't the start of another year where I don't pack a dry tent away. It's just my luck though. So those of you who live in South Wales, I'm sorry I brought the rain with me again. There's a quick recommendation from me. I've had this pillow now for about 6 months. I've used it plenty of times. It's a Sea to Summit Eros, and this is the premium large pillow. It's got a really soft fabric. It's even softer than microfiber. I'm not sure what it's made out of, but it's like having a real pillow with you, and it packs down tiny into this tiny little bag here, and it literally weighs next to nothing. So there's a quick recommendation from me. And that's it, packed up in its bag. I mean, you could actually make it smaller, but that's the bag that comes with it. It's absolutely tiny. It's probably smaller than a can of Coke. I mean, I haven't got big hands, and it weighs next to nothing, but it's really comfortable. One question I get asked about them the most, believe it or not, is these boots I wear. There's a couple of years ago, I think, I looked on Amazon. I just done a search for down boots, and these come up. I said in another video, they're not down. They've got like a microfiber line, and they're very warm, and they've got like a rubber sole on them. I wasn't sure the make, but on the label here it says, I think it's Sushixum or something like that. Sorry if you can see it. I think I paid about 10 quid for them, maybe 12 quid. And you don't get wet feet, but they're great when you stop. Just take your boots off, and then you put these on, and they're comfy. Like I said, it's soaking wet outside, and I haven't got wet feet. So I suppose if they're not waterproof, or they start letting water in, you could probably treat them with some nip wax or something like that, but I've never had a problem with them. But yeah, I got them off Amazon, for those of you who keep asking me about them. They're not expensive, and they're not down. Just another tip from me. I got an X-Therm inflatable mattress, which is obviously like a 4-season mattress. However, in the winter months, I always bring one of these foam mattresses with me. 2 reasons really. One is it will offer extra insulation, but 2 is if you have a problem with this going down, if you have a leak in it, you're going to lose all the insulation, and it doesn't really matter what sleeping bag you've got, because you're going to be pressing it down and compressing the down. If you've got a down sleeping bag, you're going to lose all the insulation. So if this does go down, you've still got some insulation off the floor there. These are bulky, but they don't really weigh much, but I always bring it as a backup, and it also doubles up as a seat if you want to sit out, if you can actually sit out and it's not raining, unlike the times I go. So that's usually what I bring with me, especially in the colder months. This has gone down with me. I did have a puncture in the summer, and it was it was smaller than a needle pinprick hole, which I couldn't find till I got home, and I actually had to sort of compress it in the bath and find a tiny little bubble leaking out of it. So it went down over about an 8-hour period. So if I'd have been out in the winter and it was freezing cold, I'd have had some issues. I might have had to pack up early and leave, because all your heat will have been lost through the floor. So definitely worth bringing something like this as a backup in the colder months, just in case. Another bit of kit I brought with me, which has been a godsend really, because I've been in the tent for about 14 hours now, is this lamp. I got it off Amazon. I'm not sure what the make is, because they're probably all made in China by the same company and come under different names. But the good thing about this one is it's also got a 5,000 milliamp hour battery in it, so you can use it to charge your phone. So it's rechargeable. It's got 3 sort of light settings: low, medium and high, and then it's got like a flashing or an SOS type thing. But I thought with the addition of it being able to charge your phone should you need it, I thought it was great. It's quite small. Like I said, I got hands the size of Donald Trump, so it's quite small. It's not heavy at all really, and it's also got this clip on the top, which is great for attaching to the roof of the tent. I said just look on Amazon. This was 12 quid, so they vary. They go from about 12 quid up to about 20 quid, but they're all roughly the same, and it's waterproof as well. So it's been a godsend really, and I mean it's really bright. you wouldn't have it on the highest setting. It'd be like Blackpool Illuminations. Some of you watch one of my other videos. When I bring my larger rucksack with me in the winter months, I also bring this. It's a cheap, I know it's Superman. It's like a lunchbox thing, which is insulated, but it's very light, and I just store all my bits and bobs. So it's all together, and it goes in the brain part of my rucksack, so it's really handy to whip everything out, and you've got all your little bits and bobs there in one place. And it's pretty much waterproof, to be honest with you. I know that moisture will get in through the zip, but also the fact that it's insulated and extremely light, and it fits perfectly in the brain of the rucksack. So things like battery chargers, you can see I've got a thermometer here, torches, I brought coffee in that, I've got some oil and salt and pepper and things, but it's really handy to keep everything together in a nice compact bag. And with it being insulated, it'll help with the help keeping the batteries lasting a bit longer during the colder temperatures. Okay, so I'm taking the tent down and the wind's picked up. So what I've done is I've just got this carabiner here and just attached it to my rucksack while I take the poles and all that out, just in case it takes off. In my last video, I had a few comments the way I packed the tent away. I packed the poles separately to the tent. It's just easier to compress it down, and some people commented that it's probably not good for the tent. So I contacted Hileberg and actually got a reply off Petra Hileberg, and she said she packs her tent the same way. However, she did recommend that you don't store it long term in a compressed state. So this tent is soaking, so when I take it home, I'll dry it out. I've got a polytunnel in my garden, so I usually hang it up in the polytunnel until it's dry, and then when I pack it, then I pack it normally. So I'll take it out and pack the poles and everything separately, so I don't leave it in the compressed state that it'll be inside my rucksack. I repack it prior to going out in a compressed state. And that was from Petra Hileberg, so just in case some of you are wondering about that. Right, that's me all packed away. So during the winter months I bring my big rucksack with me. Obviously you're carrying more equipment in the winter, some extra clothing, maybe a larger sleeping bag, and like I said, I always bring that additional foam mattress with me, so they are bulky. Now you can strap them on the outside, but because this rucksack is so big, this is the Osprey Zenith 105, so it is a pretty big rucksack. I can get that foam mattress inside, so there's nothing hanging out there. Also, the advantage with having a bigger rucksack is you can sort of just throw things in, you don't have to squeeze everything down, and if it's bitterly cold you can lose a bit of dexterity in your fingers. You're fumbling about trying to compress everything and squeeze it into every corner of the rucksack, where with something big like this I can pretty much throw it in. I mean, even with that foam mattress in there, I've still got plenty of room. I mean, I'm still compressing the straps on the side so I could fit more in there. Yeah, it is heavier, but I think it's well worth contemplating for the winter months. In the summer months, or probably for 3 seasons of the year, I use an Osprey Exos 48 because obviously I haven't got the bulky equipment with me, and I can just fit everything in easier. So something worth thinking about during the colder months.